With a broom one time, and she said, thank you, you just curl my hair.
Jack, they mistreated me, you can tell that. And Evelyn hit me in the head with the bucket and her with the broom. Edna, what did you do with me?
Well, she was so mean. When she was little, Mom was leading her down the road, and she wanted Mom to carry her, and she laid down in the road and kicked, and Mom had to drag her the rest of the way.
Little bit stubborn, Edna.
And
What else?
but talking about Evelyn, when she was first married, they lived in a little apartment a couple blocks from where we lived, and I'd go out there every night that I could slip off and go out there and eat supper. Evelyn. You remember it too, don't you?
No, I don't remember that.
Well, tell me more about growing up. Anybody? I knew it. I knew it.
Did I tell you about those at Christmas that Luther brought us all a present, and he played Santa Claus? Of course, I thought it was really Santa Claus. He said, "I've got one more gift in here, and who? The one that raises their hand first will get it." Of course, I went. He handed it to me. It was all wrapped up, and it was a real pigtail. They'd killed hogs, and he brought me that pigtail.
Wasn't that dirty?
Wasn't that mean? I don't remember that. Was that a gay gift, or was that a gag?
On Prince Street.
It's a gag.
I remember one Christmas he gave us all a lunch bucket.
Well,
Now,
what
why
did
did
we
he
have
do
to
that?
put in?
Why did he give us?
No,
a
he
lunch
gave
bucket?
me. He gave
She
me.
filled them up.
Now I got a pencil box. You want me to tell this on you, Matt? See, we each got one thing. I got a pencil box. Matt got a lunch box. Hazel got a doll in a wagon because she was Luther's pet. He's the one who bought the stuff. I don't know what Pauline got, but I think
Pauline just got a doll with these legs, and if you got it wet, you couldn't stand it.
Well,
You
Alvin
wanted to
used
kill
to
that
baptize
dog.
Evelyn, didn't he? Alvin baptized
so.
her
Matt,
dog.
when you went to
fell
school,
off piece.
when you went to school, and they asked what everybody got for Christmas, and the other kids named a lot of stuff, and you named over what we all got. She named everything that the rest of us got.
And they thought that she got it all.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, what do y'all remember about? See, I'm trying to get something on Baba's family, and nobody knows anything.
Well, it was.
Well, we didn't know much about her. Just her two brothers was the only ones that we knew.
Well, I knew her sister.
Yeah, Evelyn remembers her.
Well, I remember her too, and
but she,
Mom's getting that closer. That space right there. I could put one more person in there.
she was just 32 when she passed away.
Baba's sister.
Uh-huh.
What was her name?
Cora,
What'd she die?
childbirth, I think.
She had
And other things was
Something bad.
wrong.
something was
the
wrong
two.
with her heart.
Bad heart.
She was a beautiful lady, I thought, didn't you? She was pretty.
Well, what would y'all tell somebody to watch this video 100 years from now?
100 years from now, it won't matter.
What are you doing watching the video?
Just tell me anything.
That'd be like watching the first.
that'd be the Twilight Zone.
They'll wish there was in the Twilight Zone if they see it.
What do y'all remember about the war? World War II?
Well, it's a big, big world, and it's a wonderful world. It's what you make of it.
No, I mean the war.
But
the war.
our families mean everything to us.
The war.
Our children and our grandchildren. our nephews and cousins and nieces and cousins. We just couldn't have made it without them.
I think I've told you, I've told you that I was 14 years old when they bombed Pearl Harbor, and I had the mumps, and I stayed home from school. And Mom and I were listening to President Roosevelt on, with the radio. And when he declared war, I remember Mom crying because she knew Alvin and Steve and all of them would have to go. And then when you're that age, and besides that, we were protected from a war. Teenagers like me, we didn't really realize what it was. But we did buy war bonds. We bought stamps. We had a Miss Victory, selected a Miss Victory, and one that, of course, her dad probably bought the stamps. The one that bought the most stamps, they were 10 cents a piece, and you put them in a book. But anyway, the only thing our kids is upset about is because we didn't get to have football that first year because you couldn't get equipment, because everything was tied up. Everything was put toward the war effort. Everything. They rationed shoes, gas, coffee, sugar.
And the ladies would all get in those nylon lines to try to get hose to wear. And you couldn't hardly find them. And everything was rationed, gas, sugar.
You'd get right up to where they was and they'd be all gone.
Yeah. But when the war was over, I remember we had been out to sing at a church, and we all celebrated, and we came down the State Street a singing. And it was just a wonderful time when the war was over.
Well, there's like a big celebration now on State Street.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was working, and every one of us there, it was in August, and school was out, and we all laid out. Then the next day, went swimming out toward Hoston Lake, swimming in the creek out there.
I think I had the best of it all of you, because I was the oldest, and I got to hold all of your children when they were little and love them just like I did mine. I loved every one of them, and I still do. So I think that's
It's great. I'm glad you was good to mine.
Y'all like to laugh a lot.
Yeah.
That's helped you a lot.
laughter's good, like a medicine.
A lot of times we laugh to keep them crying.
Yeah.
Did Baba and Granddaddy have a sense of humor?
Yeah. Think so.
Because I got to tell you, I don't remember much of why on Fifth Street.
But now the most that I remember, when I think of Daddy, and you may remember it too, is him sitting reading the Bible at night. And he loved John Kennedy. He thought he was the greatest president ever was. He liked
What year? He died in 66.
Roosevelt.
I remember seeing his funeral on TV, and it was sad.
I was in Washington when that happened. Where was it, Dave?
Was you at the White House?
I wasn't at the White House. Where? Alexandria, Virginia. That's right.
Well, I remember what I was doing when Kennedy was killed. I had been ironing, and I heard this radio announcer tell about it, and I was just in shock, and I couldn't wait to tell Janet. Of course, she was in school, and they had, it was coming over the radio or TV then. But it was really a sad time.
But you talk about the war. You know, Alvin was in that D-Day invasion.
Mm-hmm.
Mildred was staying with us, and seemed like I was sleeping in the room where she was. But the next morning when they started that invasion, all the whistles started blowing and things, and you could tell that they'd started. And I remember her; she just started screaming as loud as she could scream. And that's where Alvin saw a lot of action over there.
He drove an ambulance and he picked up the wounded and the dead. And that's why he received a Bronze Star for his bravery.
Tell me about Mildred. I've never known much about Mildred.
No,
She was Alvin's first wife.
she was only 28 when she died.
27.
15 when they got married.
Oh, so they've been married 12 years.
Aunt Janice was only 8 years old, but they was married 2 or 3 years before she was born. But she was really big-hearted person. Give you anything she had. She wasn't very thrifty about saving and stuff like that. She loved her kids better than anything. If you went to her house and she fixed a meal you didn't eat or you didn't stay, it would kind of insult her. She was from a family of how many? 13?
Oh, a big family.
And we used to go to their house sometimes and eat. Her mother'd fix a big dinner on Sunday, and just anybody was welcome to come. She had all them kids and extra people at the table.
Where's Uncle Luther's family from?
Benham's one.
They lived around Benham's, I think, honey, to begin with. Then they lived out west Bristol, what they used to call a fairground. Most of them. Well, he didn't really have many people. There's not. He's only got one cousin now that I know of that's living. If he had people, I didn't know him, and he didn't either.
Where'd Uncle Buddy's family come from?
Sullivan County, all their life.
They're all from here. How old were you when you met him?
Hmm?
How old were you when you met him?
23.
No, not when you met him.
Oh, well, I was a teenager.
Just,
I think between 17 and 18, something like that.
that's what you said, wasn't it? Met him.
How'd you meet him?
He followed us home one time. He had a car, and we'd be out walking, and he'd just keep going around the block. We finally,
Picking us up.
yeah, trying to. We used to pick up, and
Well, what'd you do as teenagers in Bristol? Not
Oh.
much.
go down to Bunnings and sit in the window and watch traffic go up and down State Street.
We
Eat
used
ham
to.
sandwiches and hot dogs.
What we'd do was
Get a hot dog for a nickel.
A nickel. Yeah.
our date was
Okay.
sometimes we'd go to see a picture, and I mean they were good pictures too. And then we'd get a nut Sunday and sit in the car and watch people go up and down State Street. That was our.
That's what they did. They'd park. You could park on State Street. And
It
watch
was
it.
fun to sit and watch
And
people.
then
Sidewalks were
we stood in
packed.
Bunnings because it was glass.
You
all
couldn't
in the
get
front.
through.
On Saturday night. That's where the kids went. Stores stayed open, but during the war there were not many of the young men left. It was just you didn't have much of a choice because they was all gone to the war. I remember that.
You were just 14. Well, you were 18 by the time the war was
Yeah,
over.
I was.
So when the war was over, everybody came back.
Well, we didn't lose anybody, but there was a lot of them didn't come back. Other people. But
Was Uncle Buddy in the war?
Well, he was Pearl Harbor and around Hawaii,
Oh, was he?
Mhm.
He wasn't there when it was attacked.
He wasn't in the battle. I think he helped clean that place up. I'm not sure.
Well, Steve
But he-
was not in battle, but he was a airplane mechanic, and he would have to. He got paid for flying with the crew to different parts where they'd have to go maybe to another state for something. But he never went overseas, but he was airplane mechanic, and he had the rank of sergeant.
Wow, for somebody to be an airplane mechanic and not go overseas, boy, you know he was lucky.
Well, you see, he would have had to stay back at a base to fix the planes. It's I think would be that he didn't go overseas, but he flew with the crew in those B-17s a lot. Went a lot of places.
Well, can anybody think of anything else they want to say?
Do we
You
know
wanna
any
sing us
pitiful stories?
I can tell a lot of pitiful
Yeah, me too.
stories.
Well, tell 'em.
We don't want you to cry.
I ain't gonna cry.
Oh, you don't know what tales we can tell. Oh.
Mom, when you sit there, you're out of the picture.
Well, I don't need to be in the picture anyway.
Yeah,
She has to be at church at 6 o'clock, Jack. It's
Oh,
15.
7, honey.
Oh,
But I do have to take Madeline to get groceries.
I
No,
thought
now
you-
listen, you're not going to take me to get groceries.
I
'cause
thought
that'd
you
make
said it was
late.
at 6
No,
or 7. Oh.
It's 7.
Oh.
Well, we can stop if you want to.
Hmm.
We can stop.
No, whatever you want to do.
Well, no, we got it.
How long?
You are going to cut a lot of it out, ain't you? Will you cut me out fastening my shirt here where it come loose?
Just cut me out, period. I
just
believe you
cut
have
me
better
out,
video.
video, because I
Just
know
put the
it's
very
sound
finest
awful.
of stuff out there.